everybody, Disciple here with Overwatch Curios. Now I have to say the competitive mode is definitely my favorite queue because it gives me the most challenge, and I think if you guys are following this channel, there's a chance that's true for you as well, along with a lot of the Overwatch player base. It provides people the opportunity to play more traditional team compositions with similarly skilled players who have a common goal in mind. There's a heavier focus on winning the game and not just playing your favorite heroes, and as such, you're more likely to encounter teams that want to play with a particular lineup, balanced with tanks, supports, and DPS alike. It also provides a great metric for measuring your growth and improvement as a player, and even if there are issues with the queue right now, overall it's probably going to be better than quick play. Now over time, as you improve at the game, you can physically see your rating climbing in response to your practice and dedication towards improving, and it's a rewarding experience for players at pretty much any level of play. However, for those looking to be the best, there's a lot of small but really impactful things that can be done to improve your chances of winning and climbing the ranked ladders. Other than improving your aim, there's an entire world of strategy and thought behind the scenes going on constantly for the top level players. So today we're going to take a look at 8 things Grandmaster players are doing better than you and explain how you too can look to add these into your own matches and hopefully see growth and success in ranked play no matter what level you're currently at. Now if you've ever watched professional Overwatch at all, one of the most obvious things that these players do is manage ultimate abilities well. Ultimates are the most impactful abilities in the game, and it's critical that you play around them at all points in time, and really at the top level, Overwatch is all about ultimate economy. Simply put, Grandmaster players are always tracking the enemy team's ultimates and relaying that information to their team, while also keeping tabs on how many ultimates they have in comparison. Now this can be done simply by just surveying the flow of the game. Is a particular hero on the enemy team getting a lot of value, either by dealing a lot of damage or providing an insane amount of healing? It's pretty safe to say that they'll have their ultimate available. Relay this information to your team so you can prepare accordingly. Say, for example, the enemy Ana has healed Reinhardt 20 times over. She's probably going to have Nano Boost available. By relaying this information to your team, they can be ready to crowd control the enemy DPS who gets boosted in the coming fight. If Genji deflects a lot of your damage right in your team right out the gate, he might have a really quick Nano Blade, and if your team isn't exactly prepared for it, then he might be able to slice through you all, but if your team is prepared, then you might have some response. Not only that, but understanding what ultimate abilities have been used can also win you matches. If you know 4 people on the enemy team used their ultimate in the previous engagement, you know that they won't have those abilities ready in the next fight, most likely. This can actually change how the encounter plays out. For example, if you're not expecting enemy ultimates, but have some of your own, you can play much more aggressively than normal and rush the enemy team to try and engage before they get their own. On the flip side, if you know they have a lot of ultimates, you'll actually have way more success trying to bait some of them out with fake engages, and then try an actual engage afterwards when they've burned some of them. Grandmaster players are always timing ultimates in the back of their mind and trying to get some sort of advantage over the others, either trading one ultimate for 2 from the enemy, or trying to go into a losing fight, seeing if they can get the enemy to use any ultimates at all. Fortunately, even if you're not a big fan of your team, this is actually a skill that you can do pretty much solo to start out with to really help you out in games, and then hopefully as you move up the ladder, other people will be helping out with as well. Call out whenever you know an enemy has an ultimate or even suspect it, and also call out at the end of fights which ultimates the enemies used. This is going to be a really great habit for you to develop, and eventually your teammates are going to be reflecting the same thing as well. Now, dying is a part of Overwatch, and every player will be forced to sit through respawn timers at some point in the match. However, GM players are regrouping and resetting much more effectively than you are. At any point in time that you're outnumbered, you're at an innate disadvantage. It's important to take note of this and also relay the information back to your team. The best players can realize that if the enemy team just got 2 or 3 picks, they're better off resetting the entire fight by running away and regrouping with their teammates at the spawn for another push, instead of giving away more time or more ult charge. While you may feel inclined to contest a payload or try and stall a first point capture, if you happen to die in these scenarios, all you're effectively doing is giving the enemy team an advantage in the next fight and draining valuable time off the clock or giving it back to your opponent. Make it a habit of following the kill feed, even if it's just a simple track of red kills to blue kills, and understand when it's time for your team to reset and regroup. Pro players will even purposely jump off the map to kill themselves if it means they can regroup faster and also deny any more ultimate charge to the enemy team. Now, this can sometimes be a tricky thing to get your team to do, especially at lower levels, but if you're ever running solo onto a point in a fight that you're going to lose and the game isn't just about to end, then you can acknowledge that you're making a mistake and try and grow from that. And eventually, as you climb higher, you'll find teams that are ready to regroup and push the point together. Now, Grandmaster players are always thinking of the best time to use their ultimate, and they'll save it to make sure they get the most value out of it. Oftentimes, players at lower levels will use their ultimate when they don't even need to. For example, if your team opens up the fight with 2 kills and everyone on your own team is still alive, in most scenarios there's no need to actually use your ultimate and you can win the 6v4 regardless. With the serious numbers advantage, you should be able to clean up the rest of the team with ease, preserving that ultimate for use in the next fight, since if you do burn it, then you might not be able to push on to that next point, or if you're on defense, the enemies might be able to take you out in the next fight with their ult advantage. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, a lot of less experienced supports, particularly when playing something like Zenyatta or Lucio, will use their ultimate to save their own life and try and keep an objective contested while their team is already dead. While there are some outlier instances where this could be the right choice, most of the time it's going to result in a wasted ultimate that your team gets no value out of. Get in the practice of asking yourself, what value will I get out of ulting right now before mashing the Q button? Since a lot of times, if you die, it's just a little bit of time that the enemy team gets, but it's not also your ultimate. While Overwatch is a team game, sometimes one person can carry a match. This could be due to having an insanely good match or playing a hero that your team has no means of dealing with. Grandmaster players can recognize when this is happening and they'll quickly switch heroes to alleviate the pressure. For example, if a team has no way of dealing with a Pharah, GM players are going to switch to a McCree to bring her down out of the sky. Tracer and Genji are both heroes that can be a nightmare to deal with when they're playing well. Winston is a very accessible counter for Genji at lower levels, while D.Va can absorb some of a Tracer's damage for the team, while also being mobile enough to chase her and consistently harass her with damage and force out her recall. Once recall's been used, Tracer is typically an easy target for your team to take down, so learn to recognize the threats in the enemy team and play to bring them down. Even if you can't get your own team to change to try and counter the enemy team, it's almost always something you can do yourself, and if you provide some sort of proactive and helpful comments in team chat, you might be able to get your team to swap as well. Instead of telling a teammate that they're useless or that they're not doing anything, you could mention that they would be really effective on this hero, and maybe they've played a bit of it in the past. Now, if you're the type of player that likes to duo queue or even triple queue with friends, you might be inadvertently putting yourself at a disadvantage. One thing GM players rarely ever do is queue competitive together with 2 DPS players. Most Grandmaster players will queue with supports or tanks instead, because going into a match taking both of the DPS roles on the team can be pretty detrimental. Expecting the 4 other members of your team to fill around you is pretty unlikely to happen, and at lower levels of play, there seems to be this misconception that the 2 of you can hard carry the game, and that everyone else on your team is just going to trust you and comply. When in reality, even if they do, you may be forcing them into roles which they simply can't play well, and are ultimately hurting the team more than helping. If you're playing with friends, be flexible and try to avoid auto-locking both DPS slots in the team. And if you feel great about your DPS, then try queuing with one of your friends that can help support that in a tank or healer role. Now, speaking of being flexible, GM players are able to judge what roles the team needs and fill accordingly. Of course, not all players do this, as there are one tricks in every rank, including top 500 players, but a lot of Grandmasters are willing to work around their teammates to make sure they have a balanced team with synergy, and it happens up there much more likely than it's going to happen in Bronze. For example, if you know you have a Hanzo main on your team who won't switch at all, you can try and play around them and play towards their strengths. You can pair it with the Zarya so you can combo Graviton Surge and Dragon Strike together, or you could give them another consistent form of DPS since Hanzo might not be able to eliminate tanks very well if he misses his scatters. Now, everybody likes to meme about players never standing on the payload, but the reality is that at lower rankings, this is actually pretty true. GM players know how to play the objective, and they do so constantly. For example, when defending on a payload or hybrid map, dying on the payload when you know a fight is lost can sometimes stall the push long enough for your teammates to get back, effectively buying your team an extra fight before the checkpoint is hit. This mechanic can also work on control point maps and King of the Hill as well, where essentially keeping a point contested long enough can sometimes buy your team enough time to get back to the objective. In a similar vein, players at lower ranks can often play too aggressively when escorting a payload, sometimes forgetting to leave anybody pushing the cart forward, and costing them some valuable time, particularly matches that have more than one attack or defend session. Inevitably, no amount of kills is going to flat out win you the game. Prioritize playing the objective and the clock, and you'll see a lot more success in your matches. You can send a few people forward, especially to pick off stragglers after a one fight, or to try and get people who are spawning at a spawn point that you just captured, but overall you're probably going to want to keep your team together, since if you have 3 on the payload and 3 far in front, then you might be putting yourselves at a 3v6. In the end though, everybody loses matches. It's a natural part of playing the game, and there's nothing you can do about it. However, when these losses strain together, it's easy for the pressure to mount on someone, and because of this, high-rated players know when it's time to take a break. If you hit a losing streak, even when you don't feel like it's affecting your play, consider taking a 15-minute break. Try getting up, walking around, or even doing some push-ups on games that you lose. This will give your mind a chance to reset and refresh, and by only playing when your mind is pretty clear and focused, you'll always be playing to your fullest potential. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Now, some of those may sound like tips that you guys have heard already, but they're tips that you probably need to hear again, since Grandmaster players are doing these better than you every single day. Now, I can't tell you what to do, and if you want to keep playing like you have been this whole time, then you can go ahead and do that. But if you want to try and improve your play just a little bit to push higher on the leaderboards, then hopefully I can give you the tools to do that as well. And hey, if you want to subscribe to the channel, then I can't stop you from that either. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.